Today will be a little bit more formal. When it comes to representation, I will be asking you to identify exactly who is and who isn't here. For the record, all the accused are present. I just want to make sure that you are receiving interpretation in your own language or in a language that you understand. Yes, I see all the accused nodding. So let's proceed to representation, prosecution. Mr. McCloskey.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors, everyone. My name's Peter McCloskey for the prosecution, and with me today is Nelson Thayer, Kweku Vanderpuye, Janet Stewart, Jelena Plamenats, Chris Mitchell, Caitlin Chittenden, Rupert Eldricken, Lada Sholyan, and Julian Nichols, who, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out who he was, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCloskey. Presentation for accused Popović.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
For Mr. Popović, Zoran Živanović, lead counsel, Ms. Mirata Pušković, co-counsel, Mr. George Kalanj, legal assistant, and Ms. Leon Andrczyk, legal assistant. Thank you.
Thank you. A representation for accused Beara.
Good morning, Your Honors. My name is John Ostojic, here on behalf of Mr. Beara.
Thank you. Representation for accused Nikolić.
Dobro jutro, časni sude.
Good morning, Your Honors. My name is Jelena Nikolić. With me, Mr. Stefan Burgon, Ms. Caroline Touchard, our legal assistant. Thank you.
Thank you. Representation for accused Borovčanin.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors. My name is Christopher Gosnell. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Borovčanin, and with me are Tatiana Chmerich and William Byrne.
Thank you. Representation for accused Miletić.
Natasha Fovo-Ivanovic, representing General Miletić with Mr. Petrovic Nenad.
Merci, madame.
Thank you. Qu'en est-il de l'accusé Gvero? Réponse. Bonjour à tous. Pour la défense Gvero, Diane Kurgo.
David Joss, Michelle Butler, and Dion Zogovic.
Thank you. And finally, representation for accused Pandurević.
Myself, Peter Haynes, Mr. Simon Davis, and our case manager, Helena Kaka.
I thank you. So let's proceed. The trial chamber is sitting today to deliver its judgment in the case the prosecutor versus Vujadin Popović, Ljubiša Beara, Drago Nikolić, Ljubomir Borovčanin, Radivoje Miletić, Milan Gvero, and Vinko Pandurević. I shall now read a summary of the trial chamber's findings in that judgment. However, the authoritative account of those findings is contained in the judgment, which will be made available after this hearing. At the outset, the Chamber wishes to express its gratitude to all counsel past and present, the registry staff, the interpreters, court reporters and technicians, the security officers and staff at the United Nations detention facility, the trial chamber's own staff, and all others who have contributed to the smooth and efficient conduct of this trial. Trial proceedings in this case commenced on the 21st of August 2006 and concluded on 15th September 2009. In that time, the trial chamber has heard or otherwise admitted evidence from 315 witnesses. A total of 34,915 transcript pages records what was heard in court. There were 5,383 exhibits before the trial chamber, amounting to 87,392 pages. Over the course of a few days in July 1995, following the fall of Srebrenica, Thousands of Bosnian Muslim males were detained in deplorable conditions, transported to various remote locations, and summarily executed. In parallel to these mass executions, Bosnian Muslim women, children, and the elderly were transferred out of this part of eastern Bosnia. In the context of the war in the former Yugoslavia and in the context of human history, these events are arrestive in their scale and brutality. The trial chamber wishes to emphasize that while the horrific crimes committed in and around Srebrenica and Žepa in July 1995 form the basis for this case, the trial is ultimately about 7 men: Vujadin Popović, Ljubiša Beara, Drago Nikolić, Ljubomir Borovčanin, Radivoje Miletić, Milan Gvero, and Vinko Pandurević. The trial is about these 7 men and their alleged individual criminal responsibility. The trial chamber will first list the charges brought against the accused. It will then provide a summary of the factual allegations that underpin the crimes charged. Next, it will examine the specific crimes and the criminal responsibility for each accused. Finally, it will render its verdict. I'll start with the accused. The prosecution alleges that 2 joint criminal enterprises existed in eastern Bosnia and Herzegovina in July 1995. One was a joint criminal enterprise to murder the able-bodied Bosnian Muslim men from Srebrenica, which I will be referring to as the JCE to murder, and the other was a joint criminal enterprise to forcibly remove the Bosnian Muslim population from Srebrenica and Žepa. I will be referring to this joint criminal enterprise as the JCE to forcibly remove. By virtue of their acts and omissions, 5 of the accused, that is, Vujadin Popović, Ljubiša Beara, Drago Nikolić, Ljubomir Borovčanin, and Vinko Pandurević, are alleged to be responsible for genocide under count 1, conspiracy to commit genocide under count 2, extermination being a crime against humanity in count 3, murder, a crime against humanity and a violation of the laws or customs of war in counts 4 and 5 respectively, persecution, a crime against humanity in count 6, inhumane acts consisting in forcible transfer, a crime against humanity in count 7, and finally deportation, a crime against humanity under count 8. All 5 accused are alleged to have been members of the JCE to murder and the JCE to forcibly remove, and are charged under every form of individual responsibility set out in Article 7.1 of our statute. In addition, Ljubomir Borovčanin and Vinko Pandurević are alleged to be responsible pursuant to superior responsibility under Article 7.3 of the statute. By virtue of their acts and omissions, 2 of the accused, Radivoje Miletić and Milan Gvero, are alleged to be responsible for murder, a crime against humanity and a violation of the laws or customs of war under counts 4 and 5 respectively, persecution, a crime against humanity under count 6, inhumane acts consisting in forcible transfer, a crime against humanity under count 7, and deportation, a crime against humanity under count 8. Radivoje Miletić and Milan Gvero are alleged to have been members of the JCE to forcibly remove and are charged under every form of individual responsibility set out in Article 7.1 of the statute. I now turn to the trial chamber's findings in relation to the commission of the alleged crimes by the Bosnian Serb forces. I note at the outset that the judgment sets out the background of the events alleged from 1992. For the purpose of this summary, however, the trial chamber will limit itself to events that took place between March and September 1995. In March 1995, Supreme Command Directive 7 was issued by President Karadzic. The directive set out the criminal plan for an attack against protected United Nations safe areas aimed at forcing the civilian populations of Srebrenica and Žepa to leave the enclaves. It tasked the Drina Corps to create, quote, an unbearable situation of total insecurity with no hope of further survival or life for the inhabitants of Srebrenica and Žepa, unquote. It also detailed that, quote, the planned and unobtrusively restrictive issuing of permits, unquote, should be undertaken so as to limit the supply of material resources to the population and logistics support of the United Nations Protection Force, which I will be referring to as UNPROFOR. In the implementation of this plan, from at least June of 1995, the aid supply decreased significantly as a result of the Bosnian Serb Army restrictions, creating an increasingly dire humanitarian situation in Srebrenica and Žepa enclaves. Henceforth, I will be referring to this Bosnian Serb Army as the VRS